That'd be great. Thank you. Just want to introduce myself. My name is Bill Fritz. I'm with the Community Development Office. And if you're here, hopefully you're here for the special use permit and special exception that Verizon has submitted on the Scruby property out in the western part of the county. This is a community meeting. And what we're going to do today is we're going to have try to have some dialogue and try to answer some questions for you. I'm going to make a presentation, should be 5-10 minutes at most, sort of give you some background on what we're doing and what a special use permit is and where we are in the review process. The applicant's then going to do a presentation. I think they have one, maybe 15-20 minutes, I think is what they're looking at. And then that should leave us 30 minutes or more for public comment and try to answer any questions you have. We're trying to wrap this up around 6:30. With that, I am going to go ahead and start the presentation and give you some information that will hopefully start to answer any questions that you might have. So hopefully you can see my screen. Vivian, can everyone see my screen, or can you see my screen?
You're good, Bill.
Great, thanks. So what we have here is this is the special use permit. These are the application numbers in case you ever want to refer to anything. You can also just call it the Verizon tower or the Scruby tower, and we'll know what you're talking about. So what is this? What are we doing today? This is a community meeting. It's to share information about what's going on and to get the input from the public. This input will be shared with the Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors. This is not a meeting where the project is approved or denied or conditions are imposed or anything. We're still very much in the review process. It's just an opportunity for the applicant to hear from the public and for the staff to listen in, and for the applicant to explain to the public what's going on or what they propose to do. So how does development happen in Albemarle County? So what's happening in this case is the property owner is seeking a special use permit. And what happens is every zoning district has a list of uses that are by right and by special use permit. And the by right uses, you meet the requirements, you get to do it. So for example, you want to build a house on a property. If you have the minimum lot size and you have the setbacks and you have the development right and you meet the requirements of the ordinance, you get a building permit. Some uses are by special use permit. Towers, we call them personal wireless service facilities in the ordinance. Everyone else calls them towers. Towers are by special use permit. It's a legislative process. And what that means is it requires Board of Supervisors approval. And to do a Board of Supervisors approval, it's a multi-step process. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. The project is reviewed by a lot of people, county agencies, county staff, even outside agencies. For example, the Virginia Department of Transportation is one of them. It then goes to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission holds a public hearing. That public hearing is going to happen on August 9th. So more on that in a minute. That meeting is an opportunity for staff to make a presentation on our recommendation, the applicant to present their case before the Planning Commission, and for the public to come and speak either for or against the application. The Planning Commission will hold that public hearing and they'll take a vote. Their vote is a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Everything that happens at the Planning Commission meeting is then forwarded on to the Board of Supervisors, who holds another public hearing. That has not yet been set. But they hold a public hearing, which is virtually identical to the Planning Commission meeting, except that their vote is not a recommendation, it's the actual action. So how does development happen in Albemarle County? This lays it out from the very beginning of I want to think about doing something all the way to you're doing it. This is a legislative review. So we're down here at the far end of the screen, the very beginning of the process. The next thing that'll happen potentially is it'll go through, and if it's approved, they will then have to submit some additional documentation for their site design. They then would go under construction. and then they would then build and operate it. If they build and operate, if it does get approved, there would be some conditions, and they would need to then operate it in accord with those conditions. We're at the very start of the project. The project is still very much under review. So what does that mean to say it's under review? I'm not going to read all this, but suffice to say that the zoning ordinance has very specific criteria. We're looking to see whether or not this use will be a substantial detriment to the adjacent parcels. Does it change the character of the district? Is it in harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance? Is it consistent with the comprehensive plan? These are the actual words that are in the ordinance that we have to evaluate and we have to respond to. And this is what this application will be reviewed against. Again, this is the number. The specific request is they want to build a 44-foot tall monopole tower to be used as a personal wireless facility. Again, most people call it a tower. There'll be a lease area, there'll be ground equipment. They've requested a special exception to allow the antenna to be mounted a little bit farther from the face of the tower than is permitted by the ordinance. That's why it's called a special exception. The ordinance requires it to be 12 inches it's kind of detailed, but allows it to be 12 inches, and they're requesting 18 inches. The particular location is adjacent to I-64, where Greenwood Station Road crosses I-64, about 750 feet east of Greenwood Station Road. This is a little bit better blow up. So you can see it's in a field. You can see Seven Oaks Farm, Septenary, just to the south, Mirador is off to the west there, southwest. And you can see wooded areas around it. And I'll just remove the star so that you can see it's in the field at the edge of the property. This particular property is bisected by I-64, roughly cut in half. This is a detail of what the proposal is. I'm not going to go into it much, but I wanted to show you that this is the type of information the applicant is required to submit. All of this information, if you look at the link that's in the on the community calendar page, it will take you to a website that will allow you to look at everything the applicant has submitted, and ultimately that's where all the staff comments will be, and where the staff report will be, and that's where we keep all our documentation. But the plan that site has the plan. There are, I can't remember, I think 10 or 11 sheets for this particular plan, and they're very detailed, and they show how they're proposing to build it, how the antenna will be constructed, mounted, base station equipment, trees to be removed, access road, all those kind of things. So where are we? We're underway right now with the review. There's an agricultural and forestal advisory committee meeting that'll be on July 6th. If you go to the community calendar webpage, you can see how to attend that meeting. There's an architectural review board meeting on July 18th. Again, if you go to the community calendar, you'll be able to attend that meeting. The Planning Commission meeting will be on August 9th. That will be a hybrid meeting. You can either attend in person or you can attend via Zoom. That meeting happens starting at 6 o'clock. The community calendar will also have that. The Board of Supervisors date is not yet set. I put on there not later than October 13th, 2022. That's because of some state and federal regulations we have about the amount of time we have to review these types of applications. We need to take it to the Board of Supervisors no later than October 13th in order to comply with the federal and state requirements for review. My name again is Bill Fritz. My address is, my email address there is bfritz@almont.org. If you email me comments, they will be provided to the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. If you email me, I'll also put you on an email distribution list, and I'll keep you up to date with Planning Commission meetings and Board of Supervisors meeting and how to find the staff report and all those kind of things. And of course, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. That concludes my presentation. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the applicant as soon as I stop sharing everything. Sorry, working here with laptop. Okay. Have I stopped sharing my screen?
Not yet, Bill.
Okay, why can't I get to it?
I
All right, here.
see the green bar at the top of the screen. Oh,
There we go.
thanks very much, Bill. Good
Okay.
afternoon, everyone. I'm Lori Schweller, attorney with Williams Mullen, representing Verizon Wireless. Nate Holland is also here representing Verizon Wireless. He's a zoning consultant with NBNC Sites, which is the project manager for this project. So we do have a presentation. The bulk of our presentation is intended to show the results of the balloon test that you probably were notified of if you were notified of this meeting, as those notices were sent out in a single letter. So you may be interested in seeing those results. So let me share my screen and start from the beginning. Okay. As Bill explained, we are requesting a special use permit and associated special exception for a wireless facility at 7416 Greenwood Station Road. And this map is outlining the tax map parcel for that property. You can see the location where the star is there. Here's an excerpt from our site plan, again showing you that location where the star is. And you can see also the access easement that crosses the smaller parcel. If you were following this project a couple of years ago, the original project was on this smaller parcel, and we have since moved it to this larger parcel owned by the same landowner. So here's a better look at that change, just in case you're interested in that history. We had a couple of balloon tests in 2020 at the former location, which was here. And our new location is about 740 feet to the east here. The balloon test that we just had on June 15th included photographs at these various locations. So you're looking here at US Route 250 west of Charlottesville here, or Rockfish Gap Turnpike, I-64 up here. Here's Greenwood Station Road and the site here. And this is Greenwood Road over here. So I'm just going to walk you through the photographs and the photo simulations made from those photographs by our computer modeling at NBNC, starting with view 1 south of Route 250, and then just going clockwise around all of these sites back to the beginning. So we'll just follow this numbering system. So and the little inset is showing you where the photographer is standing looking at the site. So here he's on the south side of 250 on Greenwood, looking across Mirador at the site, and that's a photo simulation. So this is done with very careful modeling by computer. So here we are on 250, again looking across Mirador Farm, and we're looking northeast from 250 toward the balloon. Balloon's about a 3-foot diameter balloon, and there's the photo simulation of the wireless facility. Here we are on Mirador Farm, on Mirador Farm Road, looking across the farm toward the east, toward the site again. And there's the arrow pointing to the photo simulated tower. This is eastbound on I-64. And you can see the tower in the distance. Here we are standing on the overpass. This is Greenwood Station Road as it passes over I-64, and there's the balloon and the photo simulation. Now we're westbound I-64, so we're leaving Albemarle County, and you can see the photo simulation there on the left. We're on, here we are near the Seven Oaks Farm Service Road. So now we're looking northwest toward the site, and you can see the pole in the distance there. And this is from Greenwood Station Road. So we are actually on the road driving toward the site, looking across Septenary Winery, and there's the facility in the distance there. So I just wanted to provide that background once again. I know we've had some questions. So the prior site location for the balloon tests that we did in 2020 were at this location, right off Greenwood Station Road in a wooded area at the intersection of Greenwood Station Road and the VDOT right-of-way. That balloon test was conducted a second time to lower the height of the balloon by about 13 feet. And now we are moving the site about 740 feet to the east. And the reason we're doing that is to minimize visibility from the parcels of owners who expressed a lot of concern about visibility, namely Mirador Farm and Septenary Winery and Seven Oaks, which is associated with Septenary Winery. So what we're trying to do with this change, by moving it to the east, folks entering Septenary Winery would not have the pole in their peripheral vision when they're entering the winery, and then they would not be able to see it in their view shed when they were in the tasting room looking to the west. Instead, it would be sort of behind them or to the right. So that was our goal with that. But by doing that, as you can see, it removes some of that tree cover from I-64, and the site is 32 feet lower than the original site. And so for that reason, as Bill showed you, our pole now is 140 feet as opposed to the 90 something we were proposing originally. Now with the ground elevation, it's roughly the same height above mean sea level as the original pole that we proposed. It's about 10 feet taller than the second pole. And the reason for that is, just to remind you, the pole needs to propagate a signal above the trees. And when you are in a lower elevation like that, you're going to have a taller pole so that it can propagate the signal across the trees to the southeast and the southwest to reach anything that is south of the site. Same kind of concern applies when you're going west on I-64. You need to be able to get over that topography and reach those areas west of the site. So that's the reason why we're proposing a taller pole than we did with the previous one. So that's a sort of a summary of this application versus the last application and the results of the balloon test. And we're happy to take any questions anyone might have about these.
Great, thank you, Lori. So now we want to move into the opportunity for the, was that Nathan, you didn't have anything to add, or we're ready to move into the public part?
Yeah, okay. We're good, Bill, thank you.
Sorry. So we want to move into the public portion of this now. I think we've all done enough Zoom now that we know it, but I'll go ahead and say it. If you would like to speak, go ahead and raise your hand. I see we have one person raise their hand already. Don't see anyone on the phone, but just in case I'm not reading correctly or something's happening, press *9 if you're attending by phone. But if you have a question, go ahead, or you'd like to comment, go ahead and raise your hand, and Vivian will call on you.
Okay, we have Sharon Huff.
Hello.
No, there's no question. Sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know how it came on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone have any questions, any comments, anything they'd like to share? Supervisor Malik.
Good afternoon. Was there a photograph available from septenary? Because I didn't see one. And do you have pictures that you took?
We visited septenary. We do not have pictures of septenary because we could not see the balloon from septenary. We would have just been taking pictures of trees.
Okay. All right. And the other simulations went through very, very fast. So will these photographs and everything be available for us to look at once it's posted? How does that work?
All of these photographs are current. I did manage, Nathan sent me these photographs and I was able to upload them. So if you go to that link, they're already all there.
Okay.
Not only are they there, but the original photographs that we provided to the applicant are also stored there. So you'll be able to see all the photo simulations that were done are based on photographs that were provided by the county.
Very good. And one last thing. So the 32 feet lower in elevation would result in a tower that was 124 feet above the 90. So I'm just wondering what other explanations there are for the additional 20 feet that they're asking for. And also, do the simulations show the full width of the standoff, the 3-foot standoff as opposed to the tight one? So thank you.
The second question I'll answer first because it's easy. Yes, it does show the antennas the way they would appear on the actual facility. I know it's a little bit confusing. So originally we had, at our very first balloon test, we had a ground elevation that was 32 feet higher than what we're proposing. And we were proposing at that time a pole of 108 feet. So this new one is about the same above mean sea level as that first one. But you'll recall that we decided to lower the first one about 13 feet because we wanted to meet tier 2 requirements. So we did that. So there would be a difference of about 11 feet in terms of above mean sea level, taller for this new one than for the old one. But that's, we can't avoid that if we're trying to have the signal reach across the trees to the south because of the lower elevation. Nate, you might have more elaboration on that, having gone through more due diligence.
No, I think, yeah, we need to get above the trees to the south. I think that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
And the propagation maps that you may have done would show that you would be actually delivering service down there to the 250 West area.
I'm not sure that we've done propagation maps, but
that's not an item that's required by the county for us to provide.
Right.
Propagation maps.
Just to be clear, we are actually prohibited by state code from requiring the submission of propagation studies.
Okay, well, then I guess you're asking for extra height in order to deliver the signal there, but do we know if it's actually going to get there? And the second part of the question is the only people who have contacted me who say that they're really needing help is right around the Greenwood Post Office. So is there information that you have that we're allowed to ask for that would tell us whether service will be provided to that particular neighborhood?
Just to be clear, our ability to require any information on propagation or the business needs of the application is essentially zero. We're effectively prohibited by the state code from requesting or from requiring that information. The applicant can provide it voluntarily if they so choose, but we cannot require it.
I will say, and though Supervisor Malik, that we are aware of that area of need. We've received a lot of calls as well about the service in Greenwood, all kinds of communication services there. And this site, though, undeniably is intended to fill in a gap on I-64. It's also intended to serve the Greenwood area. So even though we don't provide propagation maps or that kind of detailed potential customer information, that kind of analysis is certainly done by Verizon Wireless when planning the site. That's why you're seeing us back 2 years later, still trying to pursue a site in this area since it's very much needed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have someone else has raised their hand, Vivian, I think.
Yes, we have Shipling.
Hello.
I think she's still muted.
You're still muted. You were coming on. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me? It's Nancy Schlichting.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I have a question, and I'm understanding from Mr. Fritz's comments that the county's prohibited to require information regarding propagation. But is Verizon prepared to provide documentation regarding the complaints that it's received regarding service in this area?
Fall in that same category. It's business information or proprietary information used to make business decisions. So Verizon wouldn't provide that kind of information for a zoning hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Just for anyone who's listening, this was an action by the General Assembly to specifically clarify what the localities could not require or consider during the review. This is not something that Albemarle County is we're not saying no because we want to say no. It's just it's the card we're dealt. Any other questions, comments from anyone? I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to think about it while I sum up then. So I encourage anyone who wants to be kept up to date on when the public hearing is going to be, how to participate in the public hearing, the staff report, all those things. If you haven't done so already, I see some of those names are familiar to me, but if you haven't done so already, go ahead and send me an email at bfritz@albemarle.org, and I will add you to an email list that keeps you up to date on all those things for the Planning Commission meeting. Also happy to answer any questions you might have. All of the information that was presented today will be available. We record this presentation, and it will be available on the county's website. If you go back to the community calendar, the photographs and everything that were presented today, as I said previously, are all on the county's website, and there's a link to that. And it's on the agenda. If you go to the agenda, there's a button you can click there, and it'll take you to that website. That website is updated as new information is received. It's where we store and share all our documents internally. So if you go there, you have access to everything that's been submitted and prepared. If you have questions, you can always email or call me at any time. Vivian, I think we have one more person has raised their hand in the time I was talking.
Yes, Shannon Delano.
Hello. You there? We can't hear you. I'm sorry, we're still not hearing you.
Can she put up her volume on her computer, maybe?
If you would go ahead and email me your comments, and I'll make sure that I get them, and I'll follow up with you however we need to follow up. But apparently your mic's just not working. But if you email me at bfritz@albemarle.org, I will follow up with you on anything I can. Sorry about that. Technical problems. Let's see. Are we good to go?
We have Nancy again.
Did you have a follow-up question or something?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I may have missed it, but did you mention whether there's going to be a historic preservation committee meeting on this particular application?
No, the Historic Preservation Committee does not review these types of applications, although the planner that works with the Historic Preservation Committee is part of the review of this and will be providing comments based on that. We also review, the ordinance requires us to review for the properties that are in conservation easements, and we are doing that, and we are consulting with the Virginia Outdoors Foundation, who holds those easements, to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information and to see if they have any specific comments.
Okay, I had understood the last time in the history of this particular application, the previous application, there was a meeting with the Historic Preservation Committee. So maybe I was mistaken, but that was my recollection.
I don't recall. We historically have not done that. They're simply that's not something that they have done. It will go to the architectural. It does go to the Architectural Review Board. They are specifically charged with doing that, and the Agricultural Forestal Advisory Committee, because we're required to consider. By code, we're required to consider things that happen adjacent to agricultural forestal districts, and we use the advisory committee to help us with that. We don't have a historic district, so that we don't have that. And I see that Supervisor Malik has a comment.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to clarify that I did expect that was going to happen last time, but was told that the Historic Preservation Committee does not have that in their charge to be able to make a comment as a committee. They certainly could make comments individually.
Absolutely.
And so we rely on the Ag Forestal Committee to do the same. And of course, all those properties, there may not be a district. Well, actually, these properties are all in the Afton Greenwood Historic District.
Right, not in a county district is what I meant, like an AF district. Sorry, that's I may not.
Right, but they are in the state and federal historic districts, so that's way up the chain.
Yes,
it's just we haven't established our chain of command in a way with our local committee to be able to make that happen. So turn up for the Ag Forestal Committee.
Yeah, it still absolutely gets reviewed for impacts on the historical district.
Right.
We just do it through a different mechanism. We do it through staffing. Yes.
Right, and the Ag Forestal Committee also has historic resources as part of its charge. So that's one other way to talk about it. So thank you.
Great. Well, with that, I don't see anybody else having any comments. Again, send me an email, bfritz@albemarle.org. Happy to talk with any and everyone. Sorry that your mic wasn't working. Send me an email. I absolutely will respond to you. With that, I think we're actually done a little bit early, but I don't see anyone else with any comments. So I think we'll call it. Anything, Lori, any last words you want to offer?
I don't think so, Bill. Thanks very
Okay.
much for hosting the meeting. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's your meeting. we're just providing the space. Yeah. Again, thanks everyone. If you have comments, email me, call me. I'd be happy to talk to you. And with that, I thank you all for attending and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.